and welcome to another episode of What's the Story? Hashbang Glory with me, Tom, and him,
Lee.
Oh, there we go. That's my first bit over. I've done it. My energy's gone, and that's it.
Just sapped it out of you.
Finished yet? That's all.
I've got a little bit of energy.
You're buzzing, aren't you? Go on, Lee. Tell us why you're buzzing.
Because Tottenham won the Europa League.
17 years of hurt.
Don't have to bring how long it's been.
Well, it's good.
It's only been a night.
It's only a day.
The last time we won a trophy was last night.
What's a day ago?
Quality. Son.
Does this mean is he the captain?
Yeah.
Does this mean that that there is
No more Spursy anymore.
no more Spurs jokes?
That's fucking done, yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking too right as well.
That's a shame.
Keep them.
That's a shame. I know no Spurs jokes, but
There's a lot.
yeah. There's all that, like, Rooney's been in 17 countries, won 5 FA Cups, and Tottenham still haven't won anything.
There was one that, like,
it's for anyone, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like someone was born. Like, Christian Eriksen had died and come back to life, and then won a trophy before Tottenham had won a trophy. Yeah. Shit like that. But it's gone now. It's finished. It's all over.
For how long?
Over.
The time will start to build again.
Anyway, that's my bit of good news.
Well, I'm glad that you're happy. That bedspread that your mum bought you in 1989 has finally come true.
Yeah, that's it.
They've won a cup since then as well, to be fair.
Yeah. Not many.
That's good. What have we been doing?
Planning.
Yeah, we have
That's
been
it,
planning. A lot of planning.
So we had a plan. We've got a summer festival coming in, not Delaware, Delapre.
Have you seen that thing on Wayne's World? When they put up the green screen and they're like, "Hey, let's go to Vegas," and like, "Yeah, let's go," and then they're like, "Hey, look, we're in Delaware," and they go, "Hi, I'm in Delaware."
Like you always do these Wayne's World things. I never remembered the film.
Do you know that one? No.
Big Wayne.
Yeah.
Have you seen
little
that
bit,
movie?
bits and bobs.
Yeah, you remember that one? Do you remember that one, Adam? No. Yeah. Okay, good. As long as you didn't make you laugh, that's great.
But this place, they're aiming
Delapre,
to get
yeah.
6,000 people, aren't they? And we've got a sausage roll and a Scotch egg stall.
Yeah.
So who's decided how many sausage rolls we need to make?
How much do you think we need to make?
Yeah.
Breaking the fourth wall.
6,000 people. Not everyone's going to buy one, but
It's tough.
I think in these scenarios, you
How
can
many
often-
days? 2 days.
2 days, yeah.
It's like
2
the same
days.
day.
So, I would go for 1,500 of both, right? And then you've got Saturday night to make more if you need to. What's the lead time on making a sausage roll?
Sausage roll is quicker than a Scotch egg.
Scotch egg?
The Scotch egg's just
quite
it's just
involved.
fucking peeling them eggs, man. Which is
Quite involved, isn't it?
not what I
Yeah.
do.
So we're plumped for, like you say, 1,500 sausage rolls, different flavours, and 750 Scotch eggs.
Is that across the weekend?
Scotch eggs you can't save. Scotch eggs have got more of a shelf life, so
They do. I think that's probably
shorter
sensible,
shelf
isn't it?
life.
I mean,
It's a safe-
but given the
it's a safe.
choice as a consumer, I'd go for a Scotch egg
would you?
over a sausage roll because everyone has sausage rolls. But a good Scotch egg is something to be. It's a thing of
We had a
wonder
great
and joy,
Scotch
isn't
egg
it?
in the Devonshire when we were last in London.
We did. We had a
yes,
fantastic. in the,
Devonshire.
you know the Devonshire?
Oh,
yeah, we
good
joined
bar snack.
the
I wanna eat
glitterati.
that. I wanna eat
Whilst
that.
we were there, Ollie says to me, so we were on our second pint, weren't we? And
have Guinness?
fourth Scotch egg. Yeah, you have to when you're
have to
there.
have Guinness, yeah.
Alan Pardew popped in
Alan
for a pint.
Pardew?
Yeah.
Alan Pardew. And of course, being me, I was
he do
like,
his
well, let's not
dance?
bother him.
He
He didn't
was
do his
just chilling,
dance.
yeah.
He had half a Guinness, and of course Ollie went and got a selfie. Didn't you?
selfie with Parks,
fanboy.
yeah.
Did you? Nice.
Why not?
Alan
Yeah.
Pardew's
I've never
selfie.
ever. I don't think I could ever go to a celebrity and ask for a selfie.
I just
I'd be like,
I just
"There's-"
made up my dad as a big West Ham fan.
You've never. Have you seen a star or someone remotely recognisable? Have you
Alan
never asked
Pardew,
for
a star?
Never asked for a selfie. Popped in.
I can't think of anyone recently that I've been in the same room as.
I'm too shy for a selfie.
Yeah, me too.
Anyway, right. We need to introduce you, so shut up. I asked you one question and you started a conversation. This is going to be good. Right. Are we done then? Yeah, I think we're talking so
Delapre, 1,500 sausage rolls.
1,500 sausage
We're
rolls.
going to have to order 200 kilos of sausage meat to make it.
That's us two ground up.
Into meat, yeah.
But also, the other thing, we have to use your kitchen and Thomas the caterer,
Yeah.
which we're going to have to work through tonight, aren't we?
Yeah.
Because you're working through today.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Night shift.
It's going to be fun. for the
Sausage
next
staff.
yeah, a fun few days.
Are they just
making-
plain sausage rolls? Is there anything?
There's
within?
4 varieties:
Okay.
leek and
Four
cheddar,
different-
Mexican bean,
Wow.
steak, Stilton and red onion jam, and
A sausage
the
roll.
classic.
Yeah.
Classic rustics, yeah.
So
So,
that's- we've been
Delapre
planning.
Food Festival. There's going to be loads called James Peck, who's been a friend of the show. He's going to be there doing fire things. Dan Merriman from MasterChef. Loads of cool stuff going on, actually.
Yeah.
I bet that the people from Harrison and Griffiths that are also a previous guest. So go and listen to that podcast. It was very funny. Are all going to be there, I imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
It's a good gig, and it's in Northamptonshire. It's not
So
in Delaware.
it should be a good couple of days if the weather holds out. And
Right.
also Pie Fest.
Oh yes, sorry,
But
I'm rushing.
but we've not really planned much of that. Just decided that
it's not imminent. It's in August.
Yeah,
But Pie Fest is good. I always go just to get pies.
but we've got a stall there, so
See you there, Melton Mowbray. The cheese judges just happened as well. Same organisers, different day. Right, I'm going to crack in. I'm going to crack on. Today's guest on What Story Hash Brown Glory are a storm in a teacup. Since before time began, they've been grinding up the coffee world from Edinburgh to the Cotswolds. These two chaps have got more passion about coffee than a hipster with a new bag of roast. They've worked in some cool brands such as Rustic Kitchen and Leicester City Football Club, to name a few. And we've been trying to get this interview in for ages, but better latte than never.
That's lovely.
That's the worst one yet, isn't it? That's the worst one.
Oh man,
These guys have saved us from some pretty terrible customer service, and we've never been so happy. Let's introduce these two hotshots and not mock it around anymore. It's
Wow.
Andy and Ali from St. Martin's Coffee Roast here.
Thanks.
Hurrah. Wow.
There you go.
There.
That was an intro.
interesting
Love it.
intro.
Yeah.
During the 10 o'clock news last night, oh fuck, I've not done my homework.
Or is it? Or is it not? Is that not a chat GPT?
No, that's all from my mind.
Your mind.
That's all from my stupid mind.
Nice.
Didn't you get that?
Maybe
Do you not recognise what comes out of the man's mind?
AI can't.
Oh, that's lovely.
Should also just mention we're still on tour and we're at Pembury Farm today, which is
Yes.
just in front of these guys' roastery.
It's an interesting room.
Yes, it's like
Isn't it?
William Morris on acid.
It,
like
it really
it.
is. It's William Morris on safari.
And so were we.
Isn't it? Did William Morris ever go on safari? Well, I think probably not.
I think
But,
probably not.
but if he did, it would look like this.
It would.
It would.
I like
It's
a
a quite
parrot.
salubrious
Is it a
surroundings.
William Morris print?
No, I don't think William Morris went for parakeets.
I think it's probably Laura Ashley.
I think
Or
so.
some derivative, yeah.
Or
Next.
next, maybe. Anyway, they're our landlords,
Yeah,
so
Ted,
let's not.
Ted
Let's
Baker
not
suit
diss
lining.
them.
Yeah, it's beautiful that.
You started it.
Do you know what I mean? I did, didn't I? Yeah. What an idiot. There you go.
I've
How we
got
doing,
to
anyway?
quite mention how I like how they've framed the lorikeets over there.
Shut up. We've gone too far.
Yeah.
You're going lorikeet, I'm going parakeet. It could be a galah.
I thought it was a parrot.
No, I think it's a parrot.
It is a parrot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've got bad eyes. I can't.
Anyways, lots of them.
But
It's a bit
beautiful
of a-
nonetheless, yeah.
If you had a
Yeah.
bird phobia, this room could be quite uncomfortable
It
for
would
you.
be daunting, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. All that flapping.
Oh yeah, it would, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So chaps, why are you here? Why have I invited you here? That's what we start the podcast with every time. So who are you and what do you do?
Ols, go.
Yeah, so I'm Ollie, Andy over here. Andy founded St. Martin's. Kind of, we're not too sure when that date was.
Well,
are we?
I'm a bit like Roger Miller. You know, if you're old enough to remember Italia '90, the player for Cameroon, whose age range ranged from 38 to 49. And nobody really knew. There was no birth certificate, and he was the star of Italian '90, wasn't he? He was absolutely magnificent.
Was he the first one who did the
little
celebration?
shuffle, the little
He did like
shuffle
a
in the
celebration,
corner.
didn't he?
You know, he
Yeah.
did the little shuffle in the corner. Anyway, similar to that, I can't really remember when St. Martin's was born. I remember doing the work, but in terms of the actual date, it's
we think 2010 though.
we think
Say-
about 2010
Was
because
St.
I think
Martin's born when you went to the where Crafty is now?
no. So
Because
before
you
that,
had the cook shop.
yeah, that's
Was
right.
that called St. Martin's?
No, it wasn't. So back in 2006, my wife and I bought a little shop in St Martin's Square, which was called the Original Cookware Company.
Yes.
Tiny
So
little
I went
treasure
there-
trove
I went
of
there
a shop.
regularly.
Yeah, it was a great little shop. I used to go
I'm a break
there.
from the case.
Yeah.
Just
You're
to
the
pop
case
in.
with David. Yeah. So I was just a customer there. Keen cook, my wife even more so. Keen eater I am, really. She's the cook. We went in there for a pasta cutter, a little fluted wheel pasta cutter. To make ravioli. It was New Year's Eve. I bought one of those. The lady behind the counter, who was the owner, said, "Oh, we're closing up. And if you're interested, the business is going up for sale." So we bought it, and that was that really. So a few months later, I quit my job, and Ellie didn't, and she kept on working. So we started that shop, and it was great and really exciting at the time. First business venture, and really, really enjoyed it. So we moved shop a couple of doors down to a bigger unit, still in St Martin's Square. Started selling more coffee machines, and that's where it really kind of drew me into coffee, because we were selling all the paraphernalia, all the hardware. And at the time, so it was about 2007, I couldn't buy any beans anywhere. So, and people were coming in, buying coffee machines, mocha pots, cafetières, and it was really difficult to point them in the right direction. The nearest thing you could get was probably Whittards, which had gone bust and then reinvented itself and then gone bust again. And so even that didn't exist. So on a trip down to London, I popped into a place called the Algerian Coffee Stores, which is a fantastic coffee merchant in Soho. And got chatting with a guy there, and started buying coffee from them pre-roasted, which I would then bag and sell alongside coffee machines. And I basically just give it away when you buy a coffee machine, give it away. And that I really, really enjoyed that. It was a nice close relationship, and got to know customers even further, and started retailing that coffee. Then discovered that actually, there was a thing going on here with coffee, because there really wasn't at the time. It was you couldn't really get a good brew in the city, and it was very much in the early days when coffee machines weren't in kitchens, at a home, that is. So. So that was growing, and by 2009, coffee machine sales in John Lewis, their biggest, fastest growing category. And of course, at that point, then John Lewis opened in the Shires, High Cross, and then the world changed in terms of retail. It really did.
For Leicester.
For Leicester, it changed because, I don't know whether
I arrived in Leicester when that thing was unveiled.
Yeah. So before that, St Martin's Square was really a hub of quality independent retailers selling stuff. Not hospitality. It was clothing shops. It was nice. It was a nice
record
place.
shop.
Record shop. Rockaboom.
Rockaboom.
Who are still around. They're still in the arcade next door. But it was really something. St Martin's Square was ace, and it had Pilot there, men's, quite limeys, etc., etc. Remember that? And
I do, yeah.
But what was clear was that the retail landscape was changing in Leicester. Everything has shifted. That big white box they created and called the High Cross just kept people contained in there. The car park, the bridge over. People would stay in that box and then leave the box and go in their cars and go back home. So I was thinking, this is trouble. This is difficult. So I persuaded the landlord at the time to give me an empty shop, which was dead opposite the cook shop. I had this idea of a specialist coffee emporium. And my original idea was basically just to retail coffee and loose leaf tea. And creatively, I came up with the name St Martin's, and it was quite funny actually, because I still see people now who are my first ever customers back in 2010, and they came to the assumption that my name was Martin. And I saw an old boy in Sainsbury's in Oby the other week, and he shouted, "Martin!" And my son Jacob, who's quite sharp, he was like, Dad, I think someone is trying to get your attention. He's calling you Martin. Why is he doing that? Are you my dad? I was like, yeah. So I started chatting away. Anyway, this guy's known me for over 10 years, and he still thinks my name's Martin. I mean, what about that? Calling my business Saint Martin.
And you're not a saint. The audacity to be like, I'm Saint Thomas.
Yeah, exactly. Saint Thomas. There you go. Lord Thomas. Well, let's go the whole hog.
I can actually imagine you doing that, to be fair.
Yeah. The audacity.
The Lord Thomas.
Lord.
So we took on this little shop and I bought a little coffee roasting machine, a little 1 kilo thing, which we almost burnt the building down several times. And people could buy beans. We had a coffee machine in there. And what I realized was that actually people wanted to stay in and drink. We only had 3 seats in there, literally 3 seats. And one of them was broken. So we had 2 seats in there and it was like an old fashioned sweet shop, just loads of jars of coffee. People would come in, take it back home. And gradually people began to get it. And that's really the birthplace, really. So a little tabletop roaster that I bought on eBay when I'd had a bottle and a half of red wine, and it all just went from there.
God, I love those purchases.
I love it. What's your weirdest purchase?
I bought a fry the other day that was basically condoned. And it's cost me just as much money that I've
condoned
spent
or
on
condemned?
it. Sorry, condemned, yeah.
Was it really bad?
And I've had to spend the same amount of money to get it fixed, but it's still cheaper than buying a new one. So.
It was a quite of a risky
It's
going
from
again,
some
wasn't it?
pikers off the A46.
Nice.
In a lay-by?
Basically. You'll know the houses that, let's not talk about where they live. In case
I love
in case
it.
they come and talk to
Yeah,
me.
yeah. I mean, you never know. Anyone could be watching. So yeah, and that was it really. We moved on. We moved to the big place where, which is still St. Martin's Coffee, on the corner unit, which was Stones years ago. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Is that where that was?
Yeah.
Yeah, Stones' was on that big flat iron shaped building on the corner. And it was various things before we took it on. When I took it on, it had a really bad fire. Through dodgy electrics upstairs.
We know about that.
We know about that. Yeah.
Too soon.
Too soon. Back away. Well, I was going to mention the dodgy fryer that he's bought, but
That's for outside case.
Yeah. So, and then we got a bigger roaster, bigger coffee shop, enormous coffee shop. And then, and then we took the roastery out and we arrived on Friday Street, which is just by St Margaret's Pastures and Abbey Park, and we became a sort of business in our own right, really, and and that's really where it started. That was in 2015. So it gave us a lot more space and sort of our own little bricks and mortar area, really, and the rest is kind of history.
So when did you come into the fold?
Yeah, around then, 2015, 2016.
Okay.
So yeah, my first real job outside of uni. So yeah, just sent Andy an email, just big splurge of passion, basically, about coffee. So I've been working in a cafe at uni, which is I didn't realise, but a great specialty cafe. So I kind of, chefing terms, sort of like was a KP at Noma sort of thing. Like you kind of, and that's what I believe coffee to be. Before I didn't really have any experience of what, the lower sort of standards of the industry were. That's a cafe called Opposite in Leeds, owned by a great woman called Lou Henry. And that's kind of where I got all my initial coffee knowledge over a year and thought, wow, there's an industry behind this. So then sent off a load of emails, one of them to your previous roaster. But luckily, Andy responded, sort of the only roaster in Leicester at the time where I'm from. And yeah, I think you responded about 11 minutes later after my first email being like, come in.
I like to keep you sweating.
Yeah. And kind of in a great testament to Andy's character and how we kind of work. Still, we had a chat for 10 minutes and was like, yeah, start basically. And we've just gone from there. Like, and that was about 10 years now.
I think your interview was on a train down to. I think I met you for the first time on a train going to London.
Yeah, to the London Coffee Festival.
To the Coffee Festival.
Yeah.
I said, right, I'm going here on Thursday.
Yeah.
Meet me, get your train from Leeds or Loughborough, where you were coming from, and I met you on the train.
So I said to him, I couldn't do it because I think I had some coursework or something for my final year. And I said, I can't do Friday.
I said, fuck that. Don't worry about that.
Well, my mum and dad were like, Bob, that, get with this guy.
Get a job.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I must have done the coursework at some point, but yeah, I went down to London, and it was we literally haven't looked back since. It's been great. Left for a couple of years, moved.
I was going to say, apart from when you resigned.
Apart from when I resigned.
That was quite funny.
That was, yeah.
So Oliver one day said, Andy, I've outgrown the business. Quite frankly, I'm off to London.
Yeah, I'm better than you. No. Friend, you need these things in your young 20s. You need to
You do.
spread your wings. But yeah, work.
The bright lights.
Yeah, but St. Martin's was always work to me, and I knew even when I moved away that I'd move back. It was just kind of part of me, really. Even into the first 2 or 3 years. So yeah, joined sort of 5 years ago and we became partners.
It was during COVID, wasn't it?
Yeah. Early parts of COVID.
You migrated back to Leicester.
Yeah, met my now wife, and it's always a good thing joining a hospitality business during pandemic when we couldn't actually do anything.
We did a lot of thinking.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been 5 years now. Sort of May time. So where we've come since, when I joined the business in 2015, we used to receive a half pallet of coffee, in terms of our raw coffee. And we thought that was amazing. And the roastery was literally, you can't see it on here, but quarter the size of this building. And now we receive, 8 to 9 pallets a month. And it's just completely transformed, basically.
I was going to ask about the stats, so let's just delve into that. So that's 9 pallets a month, did you say?
Yeah, so around about 80 to 90 bags of...
What does a pallet weigh?
About 600 kilos.
700
yeah.
kilos, something like that. So about 6,000 kilos a month, I think.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. So you fill 60 to 70 kilo bag.
Just for the listeners, it's about 28 grams for a shot of coffee.
Yeah.
So does it? It
lot.
goes
About
down.
20-ish grams.
Yeah. So it goes down in weight as well.
Yes, it
When it's
reduces weight by around about 15% during the roast.
Yeah, we
roasting
lose
time.
about 15% of everything up the chimney.
Still a fuckload of coffee is my point.
A lot of coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a lot to some other people, a lot to others.
Yeah.
But it's just funny to think back to how the business was and how it is now. It's just completely unrecognisable.
How's your roasting technique changed from when you first started to?
Oh my
now?
God. It's
You probably first started like this, which is like a lot of roasters would start.
Fake it till you make it.
Technique's one thing. Technique you can adapt. It's like any chef or any skill when you first learn. You have a mindset which says, right, this is the right way of doing this, and then when you develop that kind of mastery, your kind of technique changes a little bit, but your thinking develops so much more. Your creativity and your thinking develops a lot more, and that's really what's happened over the past, 10 years.
And I think we now operate more in the minutiae of it's not even the 1%, it's the kind of 0.1s.
It's getting to the details. I suppose that helps with machinery as well.
Yeah.
Getting better machinery, you can go to the finer
100%.
detail.
Yeah, 100%. It's it's gone from kind of open fire cooking to having a rationale with a thermometer, probe, and you can be very precise. And it's a similar concept with roasters. You can have something that's very primitive, or what we've got now, which is super high tech. I think what I would say is it's that, you have that knowledge curve where day one, you know nothing, day two, you think you know everything, and then day 1,000, you think you know nothing. And that's probably kind of where we are.
Yeah, I think it's a quite healthy place to be in terms of always thinking, well, okay, we want to gain an extra
teachable
1% here and stay coachable, and it's what gets you out of bed every day. Otherwise, you may as well just go and do something else.
That's what's most exciting about being a chef for me. Well, and a business owner for that matter. But as a chef, it's every day you learn something new.
Just
every day you learn something new.
Hospitality, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's you learn from everyone.
Yeah.
You literally learn.
Yeah.
If you're looking on Instagram, you go to restaurants.
But that can be,
working with people.
It's great, but also, do you find there's a degree of
overwhelm
and kind of, you then get that introspective, are we good enough? Are we doing the right thing?
Oh, holy fuck, do I need something new to learn as well? Do I need a new technique?
I think it's just picking and choosing what you actually want to learn as well.
Yeah. Or what works for you as well.
Yeah.
I think
one thing
in your sector, in that specific thing,
One thing I think you have to it's about having context. I have friends who are it looks amazing what you're doing. we are a very, very, well run, prosperous business, but internally we just think we're like, you always think you're rubbish basically. And it takes the context of someone else externally to say, no, what you're doing is amazing. Yeah.
Just for the record, I think we're great.
No, we are great. We are great. But you have that constant thing.
Ollie's a bit iffy.
You have that constant thing.
No, you do. I agree, Ol. I think if you've just installed yourself a new kitchen at home and it looks great, you're always going to look at the bits that aren't quite as good.
Yeah.
Only you see it, but and I think that's the same thing. I think it's a natural, healthy way to look at yourself, isn't it? In terms of not being overly critical, but always believing that there's something you can do a little bit better. And I think that's a pretty reasonable approach to anyone who's running your own business, which is tough and it's lonely. And
well, we're all lucky because we've got business partners.
Yeah, I think it would be a real struggle. I think and Andy was solo for ages, and I think to be solo now would be I don't know how I wouldn't. I wouldn't
be here.
Yeah, basically it'd be very difficult.
I'd be
just doing something
in
else.
Mexico.
I'd be doing something in Mexico.
And I think that it's probably similar to you two. Yeah. Like you two seem like a great partnership, and I think you probably have similar to us. But one thing that we're very lucky at, we have a very shared perspective of what we kind of want to achieve and what we see as the vision.
Yeah. I think we do. We have like the end goal is always the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Bag of gold.
Mate, big bag of cash. Yeah.
Massive.
Just kidding.
Yeah. But we're not.
It's hospitality. There's no money in it. Don't do it, folks.
No, don't do it.
But
it's I mean, we're jumping around, but I think definitely, particularly in the past 5 years, when considering everyone always says that post-COVID, that's a big phrase, post-COVID, but it was a complete marker, and like the last 5 years have been crazy.
So talking about COVID, how did you navigate yourself through that? And you just started when COVID hit. So how did being a partner? So how did you get through that kind of?
Well, Andy had to homeschool 2 kids, and
that was hard.
I didn't.
Yeah, I know.
That was really hard.
I didn't do it in the end. I just went, fuck you.
So I had a packing station set up in my utility room. Alongside 2 turntables, an amp, and massive speakers.
Oh, nice.
And the kids were just putting coffee beans on the turntables and flying them off.
I would do that too.
You know what I mean? So they were being really helpful, trying to pack coffee in conjunction with learning elementary DJing skills. So that was great.
And a bit of maths.
Yeah. That period was absolutely horrific.
Yeah.
It really was. I mean, I just turned to drink, basically, just like everyone else.
Healthy?
Barbecuing and drink for, 3 square meals a day. I think that was it, in between homeschooling. It was horrible. It was really horrible.
I mean, I was lucky. I was just a mid-20s, just chilling with a new girlfriend, basically. So
you're having a great time.
I was having a great time, to be fair.
You were one of those people who was doing sourdough every day.
Doing sourdough, lots of homemade jam, sourdough, all sorts. I think
you had it easy.
Yeah, I did. And this is the issue. People have, obviously, this is a bigger debate, a bigger conversation, but people have very different experiences then. And there were some people who obviously had terrible.
Times.
So, not to make light of it. But what I did personally, I kind of like came in and tried to look at everything we had and how we can kind of change and evolve and come back, to the Peter Crouch podcast thing, but come back kind of stronger. So, but for a while we couldn't actualize it because of there was no one open to sell sell coffee to. Our our e-commerce business was non-existent because we didn't really have one, barring like literally a few bags here and there. And again, compared to where we are now, it was nothing. So we kind of took a few months to just like chill. And I think in a nice way, and still the way the business is still now, we weren't ran in a way where we had crazy financial pressure in the sense of, there's some roasters.
No, we just stopped paying everyone.
Yeah, true.
No, we didn't. That's not true.
But
we kept up with everything. I think we did bits and bobs. We started supplying like some drinks manufacturers, some like kind of left of centre routes into markets, and
we scrapped basically. Yeah,
we did. We just scrimped, didn't we?
We did markets, and earned a few £100 doing that, but that's kind of in turn generated, long-standing
Customers,
e-commerce business as well.
We have that from when we did the markets.
Yeah.
Robert is the main one I remember, but there are others, that just, come back and back. And when they were excited about opening Mount Sol, they were like, I live in Loughborough, it's great, come and see you. And he didn't know anything about the brunch. It was just all about like a sausage roll or a Scotch egg or a cake. And he was like, come and buy this.
Yeah. I think by early 21 though, we kind of had loads of things had changed. We'd moved to Pembury here in November of 2020. And I look back then and that was brilliant. That November 2020 is probably the best month of my life. Because we were basically just...
Was it?
It was just ace, wasn't it? Like when we were just doing up the roastery.
We decorated for about 3 weeks solid, didn't we?
But yeah, and it was just, you had a purpose. Like, I imagine some days, obviously, when you have more, if you're in the kitchen, lean maybe it's like, you're kind of more process driven. But some days you're like, what we're doing today then? And like, having that aim was just ace.
Yeah.
We just had a great time.
Lee did that for me. He'd come in, right, today we're making hash brown. Today we're doing the bacon cold. Okay, good idea. I'll eat it. Every day.
Boom.
All right. I was just going to sit and watch, whatever.
Piss and balls.
Yeah, piss about. Maybe read a book.
And then we had like
and you're like, oh, all right.
Marmite butter. Delicious.
Yeah.
You like- he was
I
better.
like that.
I prefer Vegemite still, but I do like the Marmite butter. What can I say?
and we rebranded, we launched a lot of new internal bits in terms of processes. We came out way stronger basically. Probably for lots of people in business wise, some of the almost kind of like we've had conversations, maybe the process you're going through now, having that
reset
and kind of a forced shutdown makes you think, which you don't often have that time to execute plans. You kind of constantly, screwing your feet.
Or even just getting the time to do stuff that you never normally had, we're planning a cookbook, there's just, and there's stuff that we've got, we've always been planning a cookbook, but we've actually put pen to paper as it were now. And it's, we're getting like the things done that we've never really had time to do. Like an actual training program is on the cards, like we just train people on the job with what we know in our head. It's not like actually do these modules and stuff. Understand how a fucking customer likes to be smiled at when they walk in the room, That's going to be a module. Fucking smile.
Yeah. Engage with them.
Yeah.
We've got a staff handbook, which we'd finished for the front of house, but we've not got time to do the back of house.
Hard.
So now we're going to do that. Update all the cookbooks. We've got an app called Jelly where all our costings go on. So it's making sure every single recipe we've ever done is going on Jelly. So all them little things that take time.
Yeah.
Like I put all the menu on Jelly, and it took me around about
1 billion years.
3 months, because I was like obviously working.
It's great to work on your business.
Yeah, absolutely.
You spend a lot of time in it.
Yeah.
And so having that breathing space to work on it is so refreshing. Getting all the boring stuff done, which yields such important things for your business going forward.
Like I could list tens of things that we introduced. As
during that time,
which now we just
still
rely
use.
on, completely use and rely on.
We'd be lost without it.
So you can give us an example of what kind of things you implemented.
Really, I think the way the business just transformed to the point where we couldn't operate how we were, kind of hand to mouth, and it was fine doing that. Because you didn't have the custom.
Oh, there was implementing the customer online ordering system.
Yeah, online ordering system, which before it was like we'd have
messenger pigeon.
Yeah, literally orders via text, call,
literally fag packet.
Yeah,
drop through the window by
like,
a
can I have
passing.
4, please? And you're like, well, 4 of what? So now you have that. We introduced like shipping solutions using at the time a sort of application called SendCloud that allowed us to. We're doing all of our, now again, we think back and we're doing a few web orders a day, which felt massive for us. Now we're doing, again, in contrast, or in context loads, but systems whereby, the order from Shopify would talk to SendCloud and produce a label, which was like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. Just loads of little bits like that means you run your business.
Little things.
Way better.
That's a little bit like when we introduced Square into our system, takeaway orders. It was clunky as fuck. People used to order on Shopify, and then the order used to come through to your phone. So it needed a chef or a manager to see it on their phone. But now we've introduced Square into it. It goes straight through to the ticket system and comes out 15 minutes before.
Technological
and it was
gains.
just like it was just like, that's such a great change.
Just makes things work.
Well, I just love
tiny thing, but massive.
We've got a new.
It just falls into the workflow as well, so it just comes through. All right, take away order. There we go.
It used to be a big thing.
Piece of paper that would handwrite because you can't stick your mobile phone on the check sheet. You know.
Yeah, and basically,
Tom's scrolling something orders in.
And if one of us are off, we'll text someone, say, "How'd you get that takeaway order?"
As well.
That's fucking wild.
Oh, we used to
the kids playing rugby and we're like, there's an order for a bacon sandwich at 11 o'clock.
Orders, like WhatsApps, and you just have to forward them into the group. And
oh mate, it was terrible. I remember the first coffee shop when at St Martin's we had a manual cash register as our point of sale.
Okay.
No, it wasn't
like Granville.
Yeah, like we're ping out. Slightly more sophisticated, but not much.
Okay.
You know, there was no risk of injury with it. But yeah, and you know, we had 2 floors, 100 seats, and literally, and it would be a system where customer would deliver everything to the table, and it was. Our descriptions were hilarious. So it would be a man and a woman, man with one leg shorter than the other, woman with a slightly jaunty glasses for that cappuccino and latte, and it was literally like that. So we were looking around. I was totally new to that. I didn't know how to do hospitality. I really didn't. Not at this scale. It was just very, very complicated. And then we got a proper system where tickets printed off. It separated the hot drinks to the coffee machine area.
Also
everything went through to the kitchen that was applicable to them. The cake area got their ticket, and it drew everything together, and it was just like, oh my god.
Suddenly it's an orchestra and you're the conductor and you're
like, you know, and it was just like, this is the way the world should be. Great stuff.
Yeah, it just makes everything so much.
It really does.
Stuff that maybe your customers can't see, but their experience is
so much better.
Those little wins.
Well, that leads me on to the experience that we've had with St Martin's, and I feel like we should talk about it.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's a great story. And Ollie's relentlessness is also to pay for. I think
was relentless.
He sees an opportunity and took it at the right time. I think as well. There's no pressure. He was like, I'm Ollie from St Martin's. Okay,
yeah.
cool.
So I think the little backstory to this was Ollie come in nearly every week.
Well, I was your very.
I think there's a pre story for me as well.
I think we've all got
a story about this.
Drinking the caravan coffee and going, this is shit coffee. You should have our coffee every week.
That's not true.
I know it's not.
You can see on my face. Yeah. I like what caravan do.
The first story is that when we had our first coffee, to get our coffee, we didn't want what everyone else had. That was the basis of the story, is that although we know that St. Martin's made great coffee, we didn't want... Well, I know I can speak for myself, and I think you agreed, but I was stronger on it, was that I didn't want the coffee that everyone else had. I wanted something else that was delicious. And I went to this place in Derby who happened to have Caravan, and ate it. They've been open, I drank it. They've been open a week, and it was fucking unbelievable. And I was like, well, there we go. There's the answer right there. So we booked in Caravan, and along they came. We didn't even entertain anyone else, did we?
No.
And over time, the customer service got worse and worse, and it just got to a point where it was a breaking point.
It was non-existent, wasn't it, really?
And then Ollie showed up 6 months ago, maybe, and just said, look, what about this? I've had an idea.
Well, was it just after the Leicester? After the Dilly Ding thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, so, we kind of, I guess from mine and our perspective, I'd backstory is that
multifaceted
I always loved what the building you're in now, and you've got, for those who don't know, I'm sure you do, like beautiful corner windows, kind of Crittall style, and I'd run by or walk by because I was living in Cornwall at the time, and think in my head that would just make the most beautiful cafe. But I don't know what it was before. What was it?
Wall shop, petrol station,
just bits,
marketing agency.
Fair enough. So, and then one day I went by and I could see this shiny La Marzocco in the window, which for anyone who doesn't know is an espresso machine brand, and one of the very best. So I was like, wow. There's one, it's a cafe, but two, it shows they know what they're doing. And it was like 8 o'clock at night.
We had no clue.
It was around 8 o'clock at night, and you were both working in there, like trying to finish the store before you opened. So
really?
Yeah. And I knocked on the door.
Tom's like, I wasn't working at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, you were.
Sound like me.
I'd been for a drink at the Swan in Mount Sorrel, I knocked on, and you were both in there. I said, and I had a St. Martin's beanie on. I said, it's not a sales call. I just want to say, I've always thought this would be the most amazing cafe. So congrats. Like, I'll definitely be here. And you said you're opening, a week, Monday, whatever. And I was the very first paying customer, I believe.
Yeah, you were, because Danny was the first customer. Didn't fucking spend a penny. Just came snooped around.
Right.
Nice one, boys. Don't do fine dining and fuck up.
Don't step on my toes.
And like, I kind of like wanted to make a little, because we had we'd had that conversation, originally, before that, as why you weren't using us. And I kind of wanted to have a little bit of a mini dig at you both and say, hey, if you'd have used us, then this is kind of the, hopefully the service that you'd get, and hopefully lots of our customers receive. And then just in the past 3 or 4 years, been a big fan. Like, we've eaten there loads as non-suppliers, because what you do is truly, kind of like best in class. Then with Dilly Ding, our Leicester coffee, it was kind of a nice little kind of non-committal where you can retail that.
It was our best-selling retail product ever.
Blew off that Christmas.
Yeah,
best-selling retail.
Got a new one coming out.
Got a new one coming out.
Have you?
Yeah.
You got an exclusive for
Is
us.
it a Tottenham Hotspur one?
It's not a Tottenham Hotspur one.
Do you know what?
It's not a championship version, is it?
Maybe.
Has it got red at the bottom where they sat all season?
No, that's fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah.
It's a throwback. We'll say that.
It's
a
a
Vardy
throwback. It's not a Jamie Vardy one. No, we didn't want to pay the royalty.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to buy that.
But it's really cool. We're really pleased with it. It's a limited edition. We've got 750 units to sell.
Is that it?
I know, but we love it, and it's coming out at the beginning of next month. So it'll be really, really cool. It's great. Can't reveal too much because obviously the thousands at home will, I don't want to give it away. I don't want to spoil it for them. But it's just in time for Father's Day.
Okay.
Not that only dads
Well,
like
hang on.
drinking
When does this
coffee.
come out anyway? When we're talking, it's 2 weeks on Tuesday.
Is it?
So
Could be out.
because you know what I mean.
Oh, mate. Well,
Well,
in
hang on,
that
let me
case,
check
then
the
we're
dates
going to tell
because,
you everything. I'll go and grab it.
Well, you could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 weeks. Hang on.
So,
I was working
yeah,
out
I think
dates.
it'll come out just
1, 2.
before Father's Day.
This will be on the 10th. This will launch on the 10th, which is the Tuesday before Father's Day.
Oh,
Probably
my
out.
God.
Yeah.
Well, we'll spill the beans then.
It's like the stars are aligned. Do we have to
it
sign
now.
an NDA now, though?
No.
Because I can talk to loads of people in 2
Yeah,
weeks.
yeah.
We could
No, it's
sell
wicked.
some at Hammer, couldn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We go.
Yeah,
couple of
definitely.
bags.
Yeah.
So what we've kind of done is gone back through the back catalogues of the sort of Leicester kit. So the first bag, Dilly Ding's, based off the Prem winning kind of kit, and this bag is based off the 83-85 away kit, like the green, yellow stripes.
yeah.
It's kind of like
The Einkoop
Einkoop one, yeah.
sponsor.
Nice
I mean,
shirt, that.
and it's kind of like
Really
known
nice
as being
shirt.
like the
Admiral.
sort of one of the sort of most sort of like famed and sort of favoured Leicester shirt of bygone era. So
It's got a cult following.
yeah, so
They
we've got that,
never
so it
won a
looks great.
single game in it. There you go.
they didn't.
Bit of trivia for you.
I think
I know no one can believe it.
Times.
Well, Leicester not winning a single. Yeah, but it's true. But it's a cool kit.
I was about to say, they didn't win a single game of that season, but when they were playing away.
When they were
When they're
playing
this
in
kit,
that
yeah.
particular
They
kit.
drew a few times, but yeah.
To be fair, was it the third kit?
I'm not too sure. Yeah,
I think it was the third kit.
Something
I
like
think,
that,
but it is the kind of. If you speak to any Leicester fan of an age, it's probably you're probably going to get a response that's their favourite favourite shirt.
Spurs like Holstein.
Yeah, kinda
like you go like
Holstein.
that's the Spurs kit. Like
Kind of classic sponsor,
JVC
yeah.
Arsenal, Sharp United. I think this would be
those
up there.
Yeah.
those sorry to digress a bit, but those retro football kits are really popular. Like there's a whole website
Big business.
just and you just order any.
Yeah,
Yeah.
classic
They say it's
football
got like
shirts.
mystery shirts and they send it here. It's
Yeah.
mad.
Yeah.
Anyhow, we digress. So, and then kind of thinking how best to kind of what would work with you guys in terms of what you maybe would want from a sort of new roaster partner. So we kind of presented the concept of a rustic bag and sort of coffee in its own right. I think you guys very much are a brand, and kind of this bag definitely befits you. Who was the illustrator? Who came? Sam Grubb, yeah. So that's his design
It's
on the
wicked.
front.
Love it.
Beautiful
we're
sort of
proud,
colouring.
aren't we?
Yeah, it's good.
It's brilliant. Really nice coffee as well. The Brazilian Mantiqueira in there.
Brazilian. Do you want to tell us how
love it.
stupid we are again?
In what sense?
Because you're like, it's Brazilian, which is
Well, no, it's more
not
like
quite normal.
So
No
it's
one
a,
does
it's
that.
a yeah.
No
so
one does that.
It's a two coffee blend, blending two Brazilian coffees. it's not. It's just like not really. It's just like one of the ones where you just wouldn't really necessarily think of doing it. But the coffee, the Mantiqueira, which is the sort of other, the sort of more the interesting element of the blend, is a very atypical Brazilian coffee. So it's a lot more kind of fruit forward, a lot more complex. So yeah, it's a beautiful pairing. It's what I'm drinking now, and yeah, it's great.
It is really good.
Yeah,
it is really good.
Even Lee likes it.
Even I like it, and I don't really like coffee. And I was like, actually, it's really nice. It was funny doing the tasting and the cupping.
It was really interesting.
Yeah. So you selected that coffee during a cupping with Jack from DR Wakefield, our importer, and he sort of took you through all the different coffees. And I think when you do any sort of cupping or tasting, it's really interesting to present a big wide range.
Did we try about 12 different
Yeah.
coffees from around the world?
And you sort of see that breadth. I think kind of, and Andy's seen it more, from the early sort of 2000s to now, that coffee knowledge and consumer coffee knowledge is only growing. And I think coffee can be and hopefully will be where wine is, in terms of people understand there's a huge range. There's ones they prefer, there's ones they like more, like less, and also price comes into it massively as well, where you understand that there's that £10 or £5, £10 bottle of wine that you enjoy on a Thursday night, just because why not, but also there's wine that's a little bit more special, and I think coffee sadly suffers from a massive kind of price expectation and ceiling where a coffee has to cost this, whereas in reality we could source a coffee that would justifiably cost £50 for a cup. And you see these like sensationalist articles, Mayfair Cafe charges X, but they'd kind of be justified. And you wouldn't go crazy if a restaurant had a £500 bottle of wine. You might just be like, well, that's just not for me. I'm going to go for the 50, 40, 30 quid one. So yeah, coffee's got sort of tons within it with that, and I think it's got a lot of growth potential in the consumer's mind, not just in the range of flavors, but in its kind of quality range as well.
Yeah. We were just stoked that we had something that we believed to be delicious, and then have it, in our own bag.
And it was a great, interesting process going through it.
Yeah, it was.
Actually,
it really was.
Picking it ourselves. It wasn't like kind of you're leading us to the one you want us to. It was completely like, you choose, guys. It's your coffee, and it was great.
Yeah,
it was a good experience. And like doing the bag, it was super easy. And like you gave us all the details that we need, and just made the coffee look great.
Yeah, we found this manufacturer. So these are all made in the UK. Down in Kent or Essex, are they based? Essex, yeah. A really great company that we'll keep to ourselves for now, just because of, it's our little secret. But they're brilliant to work with, super quick turnaround, great quality.
There is something called Google.
There's
somebody's a coffee bag manufacturer, Essex.
Yeah.
And they'll just pop up.
Yeah, Baker's Packaging.
It's amazing.
But yeah, no, they're ace, and it's given us a lot of flexibility with our own bags and starting to offer it out to
I've seen it on the shelves.
Yeah,
as well. The day in the cafe, it's like, cool. Yeah. It's there. It's happening.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
But no, I mean for us as well, it's always great to kind of create more of a kind of natural connection with customers before maybe bringing them on board. There's nothing wrong with kind of enjoying a place that doesn't serve our own coffee, as much as hard it is to say, though we'd always prefer to enjoy it. But I think our relationship was a lot more organic in that perspective. And I often sort of say, in my sales tactics, almost like be a bit of like that bad smell, and just like you're constantly there. And eventually when you're the next cab off the rank.
But you were, but also you listened. You didn't just try and sell us Friday Street or another roast. You listened to what we wanted, which is that I didn't want that off the shelf, same as everyone else, because there are there are other roasteries as well where you're going, oh, it's that company again, and that's fine.
Yeah.
We have to be unique.
Absolutely.
We have to be unique as a part of like our thing.
Yeah, we just have to do our own thing, and we just don't want to be the same as the calf down the road.
And I think there's it's not a one size fits all. Some people want to be massively led by us in terms of their coffee selection and kind of you tell me, and others like you guys are kind of a little bit more, you want to dictate that, which is fine. We're kind of good for either. No, I wouldn't say fussy. It's just like particular, isn't it?
We are fussy.
Yeah.
He is.
I am a little bit fussy.
A little bit.
It's a good trait to have.
Yeah, it just worked well for us. Yeah, it's worked well for
Definitely.
us. I lost my train of thought there. Sorry. Where does the future take is going to take St Martin's then? What have we got planned?
What we've got planned? Do you know what? And this is genuine answer, is just to keep on enjoying what we're doing.
Yeah, fair.
And that it's really central to us. We don't number chase. We don't as a, and I never have as a business. You know, I hate the word, but entrepreneur. You know, a small business owner. I don't like doing that. I always think that, you know, you tend to focus on the wrong things if you have a number in mind. Oh, I want to be doing this. I want to be turning this out. You know, it's not about that really, because generally, you know, I find that if you're enjoying yourself and you're still getting up every day and excited to go to work, not every day. I'm not, you know, living in la la land, but in terms of just, you know, you're happy, you haven't got that stomach feel, the gut feel is still with it. I can't really ask for more than that, you know, and that's the same for all of us. Yeah. For the guys over in the roastery who are beaving away now, you know, the most important thing for us is that they come to work every day with that gut feel, which is, you know, where they don't have that sense of dread. They don't have that kind of, oh, this is going to be a
Have
grind.
you had that in a job?
Oh, geez.
Massive.
Oh, God, yeah.
Huge, dude.
It is crap.
I think if I can avoid the
really
Sunday
crap.
scaries for the rest of my life, then I'd say
You've accomplished something.
Yeah.
And I think,
Antics Roadshow comes on and you're like, oh, fuck,
Oh,
gotta go
dude,
work.
don't.
you know, like last of the summer wine for me,
I think
always
Sean
does
Gilmore.
it. You know what I
Doorbell
mean?
sounds like last of the summer wine.
And not that, you know, we're not. It's not a utopia in the roastery, but I'd hopefully confidently say that, you know, that everyone over there would say, yeah, you know, they don't have the scaries. And I think if we create a workplace that's the feeling, then I think you're a success.
Yeah.
Because there's literally nothing worse than, you know, having that feeling or desperately searching for a new job because you just despise where you are. And yeah, I'd consider myself, you know, one of the luckiest people in the world, because I just genuinely
100%.
love what we do and kind of get to do it every day. Even though, there's challenges and there's stresses.
There are. But, you know, and I think then if you just keep focused at what you're doing and what you're good at, whilst being happy and you know, and content, the numbers look after themselves. You know, and it's just a case of just enjoying and just keep on enjoying. So you know what? Nothing other than that. That's a really boring answer. We're not doing. You know,
that is the answer.
We've got no kind of. It's not like open X shops or do this or that.
No,
There's no.
We're not good at that.
Yeah,
I'm not good at that. No, it's about us just
maybe launching a fashion brand.
Yeah. I'm launching a fashion brand shortly.
Genuinely, that's what we'd love to do.
We're doing.
Really?
We are. Yeah. We're launching
fashion.
All sorts.
It's all sorts really. But we're at the minute we've got on the boil a golf brand.
Golf brand?
Yeah, which is kind of just like an anti-golf brand.
Okay, I like that.
And it's called Shrunkle, founded by a good friend of ours called Bob Shrunkle. And Bob isn't with us at the moment, but he will make an appearance at some point with the brand. We're in the early days of it. We've got, you know, we're in the design phase, and it's going to be kind of more street, soul, hip hop inspired, casual
so like
golf.
Snoop Dogg playing golf.
Dog means golf.
Yeah,
Dre.
I mean, if he wants,
like baggy kind of,
mate, if he wants not too oversized, but it's going to be, you know, I mean, really, it's.
We just love clothes, don't we?
We love clothes, and I know you can't believe it the way we are today, but yeah, it's an exciting thing that we're just starting on this journey. We'll probably only sell a couple of hoodies and a couple of t-shirts, but it's occupying a different headspace. It gives you another little.
Cool. I like that.
So
we love jackets.
So yeah,
Jackets
give us a follow.
Shrunkle
Golf and shrunkle.com is their
already
website.
registered, are they?
It's all there, dude. Okay. We're on the way.
Messing around.
We're on the way.
We're not doing the fucking amateurs here.
We're doing within about 5 weeks. We should have samples and an actual range put together. So
but we get quite like we love like if anything
we love
done,
disruptors.
But we're also like we're very particular, aren't we? So like, so if it's a hat sample, like there has to be like a perfect hat, you know, or like
We've
a
not
perfect
found one
jacket.
yet. We're not found
Kind
it.
of like we're very, I'd say like both of us are quite like detail orientated in that way.
You're doing bucket hats.
We're going to do buckets, yeah. And, you know, you can have one when we, you know.
You can have a bubble hat if you do a bubble hat.
There's one coming, dude. Absolutely.
I love a bubble. Sorry, a bucket hat.
Yeah.
But they've got to be big. You know, I found the ones I've got at the minute are good because they sort of cover your eyebrows.
Yes, so they've got to have that function, that nice function as well. So yeah, there's going to be quite a compact range, but I'll send you the range guide and the brand, you know, because you know, it's at that stage where you just think,
this seems like an interesting thing to do,
are we barking up the wrong tree here?
And we play a bit with our merch though as well. Like we've tried stuff that's absolutely panned out, and then like the t-shirt that's based off this is flying out the door, and even the Leicester t-shirt, you know, it's not really our design, but you know, it still sells. You know, people order them. Even the rustic, you got one on there, the rustic t-shirts, like they're flying out the door, and it's just fun.
Yeah,
it's just fun. It's like, well,
I want to make a deck chair, you know, a proper old-fashioned wooden framed canvas deck chair as within our merch.
Pop that out on the Masters.
Well, because I use one all the time. You know, I just love that.
I think it should come from that. Like the bucket hat for me is like essential now because I wear them, you know, an apron, a t-shirt.
It's like fulfilling a need, isn't it? Yeah.
I like socks.
I love socks.
Having like a branded rustic kitchen sock. If it's like,
mate, well, we're in
Premier Events have got branded trainers. Have you seen them? They're so cool.
But even like you talk about socks, so like
branded trainers, like Nikes with.
I think you know you made it once if you've got merch which includes footwear.
Yeah,
I mean that's pretty bonkers, isn't it?
I think it's attainable though because
do you think?
Yeah, but I still think it's cool.
On it, yeah.
I think it's wicked.
Yeah. Right, we've got to think about wrapping up. So, have you got any questions for us or a quiz? I know we had hocked it a bit here, but you said you had a question.
I've got mine's twofold. We've kind of like discussed it in kind of roundabout way, but obviously I guess we, you know, all four of us share a similar kind of profession in terms of hospitality owners and operators. So, and some people think you've got like the best, easiest life in the world, you know, from the outside in terms of, you know, being a business owner, having this thing. So I guess it's like, what's your kind of greatest challenge or kind of negative in that sort of owning that hospitality space, but also what's the thing you love most about it?
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Hardest thing to manage is time for me. If I could afford it, I should probably get myself a PA. But it sounds fucking like a tosspot to say I need a PA. But I actually think I do need a PA because I'm really good at relationships and talking with people, and I can handle all that, you know, and I can build something from that. But like the administration that goes with that and the organization to get me to those things and to manage that diary is crap.
Yeah.
It's crap. Callum picks up a little bit of my slack with organising me where I need to be. I've actually got to shoot off after this, like for another meeting. But you know, there's those things like that. So I would say time and the time management for me is my fall down, definitely, which is what I would definitely my struggle.
But the best thing?
Oh, the best thing is working with people. Like I love seeing like the reaction. I love like whether it's with Thomas the Caterer or Rustic Kitchen especially, I just love like people having a great time and enjoying the fruit of what we've made and created. And well, certainly with the weddings as well, created together because they're really part of that thing. But also Rustic Kitchen, like it's the thing that we've created together and that people want to go there constantly. Like, and they sell out a restaurant in 90 minutes because they missed us so much. And, you know, not all 8,000 followers saw that, you know. We probably could have sold it out 3 times and done Wembley, but, you know.
That's not
just... Imagine brunch at Wembley. That'd be fucking
with a massive
lasagna.
A choice of sausage rolls or Scotch eggs.
Yeah.
Imagine all that.
So I love that. I love the people enjoying the thing. It's a very... I've said it time and time again. It's a really rewarding thing to do, being hospitality, and to see people smile because of the thing that you've made.
Yeah.
But I think that's the same with me. It's creating something, like creating the place from pretty much nothing, what it was, creating a dish that people love, and then going about like, oh, I can't wait for this. I want this. I can't have
steak and eggs.
Steak and eggs,
when they put it on Instagram, it's like, this is the best thing ever. Like, you created that kind of thing, creating the coffee bag, cool thing, creating the t-shirt that people want, and it's crazy. But that kind of aspect to it, like creating something that's has been done before, but it's your style. It's what you like and what you want to thing. And I think the hardest thing, I'm getting now. I'm into a different like kind of period of Rustic Kitchen. I've kind of come out the kitchen now a little bit as well. Last couple of months before, I was kind of coming out of the kitchen, and then when we go back, I will be kind of fully out of the kitchen. So that's going to be a bit of adjustment as well. I go back in, do development with them and help out where
but not on the tools,
but not on the tools constantly, because we've been having this discussion for a couple of years, haven't we? That we can't grow the business if I'm always on the tools. You know what I mean? Like, you can't depend on me to be
in the kitchen.
In the kitchen, and then get another place, because you can't split yourself in half. You need to.
Is it difficult to like at times for you to give up that control and, or, you know, not that you sacrifice quality? I think I never know whether you're in the kitchen or not, but
that's the great thing, you know what I mean? Because the team's so good, but that's took time to get to that point. I was concerned about that, but there's no concern anymore, because I know they're all more than capable to do it as well. So that was the worry like 2 years ago, but not anymore.
I think that also comes with, you know, that that culture by beating the drum of like, this is how we're going to do it, this is how we're going to do it. And leaders that very well, you know, like, this is how we're going to do it, this is how we're going to do it. No, this is how we're going to do it, you know. It's without sounding like a Nazi, like it's this way or the highway kind of thing, you know. This is how it's done.
It's just
don't divert.
It's just the unwavering.
We do here.
It's the unwavering kind of standards. Is that you don't reach the standards. That's it. You know what I mean? You hit the standards.
And I think a lot of hospitality places do struggle with that, because, you know, chefs are creatives and they come in and create and they do their own spin on things, you know, and they do their own. Whereas, you know, the culture at Rustic is that, look, guys, this is the, you know, it's all specced out in theory, you know, like this is how we do it, you know, there's no other way.
But there is the time to be creative,
for sure.
Like
in the menu process.
But once that's set, you've got to execute.
That's it.
Once we've all agreed it and signed it off, that's sort of
because the one thing that I can't stand, I got this from in development, is like having the inconsistency, and I was like, I prefer it when that chef's on. That's just bullshit. Like, whoever's, if it's different from one chef to another, you shouldn't, like you say, not have a clues in the kitchen. It should come out exactly the same.
It's same with coffee, you know.
It is.
One of the worst things I can hear from one of our customers, or if I'm over on their site and I'm overhearing a customer saying, Tom makes my coffee much better than Dave. Is he not here today? And that's the worst thing that can happen, you know. And certainly as a business owner, it's like somebody, you know, well, you just know you've not done your job. You know, the product's got to be exactly the same, of the same quality, every single time. I've got a question. So one of the great things about what I do, and one thing that really I enjoy doing, is meeting people right at the beginning of their hospitality journey. So commonly for us all, I mean, we speak to people all the time. We're in a fortunate position actually, where we have a lot of conversations with people who are starting on their own, maybe as a partnership, maybe they're a husband and wife, you know, all different types of people who have made this decision to open a hospitality business of some kind. Just so happens I'm meeting a guy tomorrow, right? A young guy who's opening a coffee shop. He's a chef, and it's fairly local. I'm meeting him tomorrow for a first chat. Okay, I know the location where he's opening. I think it's a cracking location, and in a village not too far away from where we're here. I kind of have a list of things in my mind, gained by experience, logic, mistakes, etc., that I go through with him. If you were with me
to coach him,
and
just to help,
because to help, to provide him with that a little leg up here and there, to kind of, you know, prompt conversations about things that he's probably not thought about, maybe. And to also to talk about the things that he has thought about. If you were there with me tomorrow, give me a few things from what you've garnered, from what you've gathered.
I would say systems.
Yeah.
As in till systems where the ticket comes through. is crucial to
how does it work? Hanging it all together.
How does the customer come and order? How does it go through to the kitchen? How does it go to the customer?
Yeah.
When does the plate go back? All that kind of stuff needs to be slick, because if it's not
written down, designed,
the process, focus on quality and not quantity, as in don't have a menu to suit everyone.
That's the big one, isn't it?
Really, it should be on maximum 2 pieces of paper. There was one the other day, and we were.
Depends how big the piece of paper is, though, no?
A3.
Just as a side point, I want to go back to what the other items on your list. But what's your opinion? You're two guys who understand food, right? And not only that, have produced it, in great quantities. Vegetarianism versus veganism, right? What I'm seeing at the moment, I'm not a vegetarian, but my wife's a vegetarian, but she's a real foodie. When we go to restaurants, I'm noticing more and more that that was the vegetarian option is now vegan.
Yeah.
Right.
Ticks boxes.
It ticks boxes, but it's frustrating, right?
She misses
missing
the
the
feta.
cheese. Yeah.
She misses that kind of that typical protein.
I think
that would be
generally
there.
is that
I know. It ticks
vegetarianism is dead, and that veganism is just.
So I went
It's
through.
king.
I went through development meetings, and food brand managers didn't care for vegetarian food anymore. They wanted vegan food because they've only got 2 slots on a menu.
Of course.
So they want 2 vegan options, and they will put an add-on. Like add cheese, add your feta, because then you fill 2 spots with 2 vegan options.
Yes.
And you can add on.
You can do that
if you need to, because basically the menu's only so big and it
Cool.
can only fit.
So sorry, going back to my original point. What else?
I think something that we didn't do initially, and we definitely should do, and we have done now, and do now. Is understand the company core values that you have. So 3 or 4 core values that you want, and hire upon them.
Very good point.
Yeah.
Because if those people aren't on board with your values and your vision and what you intend to achieve ultimately, they're gone.
You're hiding to nothing.
You just wasting time and money.
Yeah, and
all right.
do you
It's
know
better
what? It's
to
a
go
really great
without.
point. Yeah.
It's better to go without, and we've learned that, than
Yeah.
to have someone. Yeah, it's better to go without than to have someone that's not engaged in those core values that.
And I suppose
you
that's
all
a great
should
point.
Share.
Yeah, 100%. And regardless of where you are as a business, whether you're something that's not been born yet, having that kind of what people would probably say is a bit fluffy.
Yeah,
The
it's really
words,
hard to
the
do.
feelings.
And you don't
Really
know what.
difficult.
And honestly, probably this young chap doesn't really know himself that well yet. Honestly, to know, because you need to almost do it.
Yeah.
To be able to put,
It could be people's first jobs. And
I mean, I would go
under pressure.
Go
That's
for a walk
interesting.
with a notepad and think about what is really important to him. And if it's just that everyone has to be passionate.
And I suppose
positivity,
you don't
that
need
they
to come up with
care,
something brand
they care
new.
about people.
You can you can use your own your own
search the internet,
experiences
find
of
a list
going.
core values and go, I stick with that.
I
one.
love that.
I stick with that one. Stick with that one.
I'm gonna steal that one for tomorrow. That's a really good point.
You're welcome. I read a lot. That's where you learn stuff.
Last point, a third point. What would you reckon? So we've had kind of systems. We've had kind of brand and values and the words.
If I may.
Go for it.
It's on the back of what Lee said about that system. Like, get a great system from the off, but then read the reports. See what sells, see what doesn't sell.
And listen to it.
Yeah, use your data.
If you're not, I guess there is a grey area of, well, actually it doesn't go off, so shall we keep it on for when that person does audit? Perhaps.
Right.
But look at the rates of sales and stuff, and understand the facts, and then and that system will have that in place. We use Square. If you want to sponsor the pod, we're here. That's like
worth a few quid.
quite a good sort of thing to.
Well,
I had a second point about that
as well. Stick to what he's good at. If he's good at cooking,
stick
to cooking.
Yes.
Get people to do the accounts.
Absolutely,
outsource all that kind of stuff. I don't know.
Did you guys take on who was doing the numbers when you first started out?
Oh, straight away we did it because
you outsourced it.
With respect, I knew that was the right thing for us to do, was just to get an accountant straight away. We've never done a books. I've never done my own tax return ever.
Oh no, I'm not talking about tax, but in terms of
all of that shit though, any accounting. I mean, we look at the reports and we can do that, but I'm not, any accounting, fuck that.
I think it's, I think, yeah, I think it's a really tough thing to do though, isn't it? Because when you're in hospitality,
spreadsheets and do that, but I'm talking about accountancy where it's specialist.
For sure.
That goes off elsewhere.
But I would always say this to somebody is, do not expect your accountant, no matter how nice and lovely they are, to run your business for you. Just by virtue of the fact that you've got an accountant on retainer or whatever, they do your end of year returns. They're to make you compliant with the statutory laws of running a business.
They're not entrepreneurs either.
They're not entrepreneurs, so don't expect them.
They're risk adverse, if anything.
It's still you as the business owner who have got to understand the ins and outs to make sure you earn a profit.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably a different podcast, but nonetheless, I think I come across a lot of people who say, right, I've recruited an accountant. He's a nice lad. Tick. That's my financial well-being taken care of.
No, it's not. No,
it really isn't. No, that's your end of year tax return. He's going to tell you, or she's going to tell you how much you need to pay. He's not going to tell you how to run a profitable, successful hospitality business.
I think to piggyback on that as well, we're constantly and intimately clued up on our day-to-day numbers.
It's become something as time's gone on. And I'm sure you can probably relate to that, is the kind of mastery over the numbers in terms of, not only your gut feel, but your gut feel and reality start to become quite intertwined. And what's right and what's not right in terms of that financial fabric.
Because we've got all our different apps kind of entwined with each other. So Jelly goes into Square, and then obviously all the invoices go through to Jelly. It figures out the GP of stuff, and when prices go up, it alerts us when prices go up on food, and then
that's
obviously
cool.
Then we can look at the GP on that, and then we make a decision if that item comes off the menu.
Absolutely,
we can see it straight away, rather than before we had a feeling it's going up, but you don't know because you're not looking at the invoice all the time. But now it goes straight into there. I think it's just stuff like that, getting all your things so you can focus on cooking, or focus on being out front, on doing
what you're good at,
basically, and sorting all the positions out.
But choosing the right tech is so important.
It is,
And I suppose you could say to yourself, the guy I'm meeting tomorrow could say, well, I'm a little bit, I think that's a bit ahead of the curve for me.
Yeah, it will,
and I suppose, I suppose what you're saying is no. Start off right.
Yeah, start
off right. You have to get your costings right.
Because you're going to be getting invoices flying at you from stuff coming in. Your produce, your bread, all of this is bits of paper are going to start flying at you, and you've got to have the systems and help to deal with all of that before you get into a mess.
Yeah, because now we don't do invoices. Basically, the invoices come straight from the supplier into Jelly. We don't touch them.
Yeah.
Awesome. The final thing I thought Lee was going to mention, and he didn't. Right, what his points were still very valid. Was don't be all things to all people.
Yeah.
Like
you can't please everyone, man.
You got a fucking.
You gotta be yourself.
Got a Sunday roast on a Monday
100%.
lunchtime menu. Don't do that. Like just keep it simple, stupid. That KISS rule. Like just. Yeah, don't be all things to all people.
Just be yourself as well, because your personality will show through.
Yeah.
And people will get that. Like, if you try and be, like, say, all things to all men, they'll see you swapping and changing. Stick to your guns of what you want to do. If it don't work, don't work. You know what I mean? At least you've been yourself.
You've said authentic,
Yeah.
Wicked. Thank you.
There you go. That was good.
That was great, guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys.
Right.
Just excited for Father's Day now.
Father's Day.
Have you booked him?
Booked him.
Have you?
See?
I didn't book in.
Why didn't you ask me?
Because of
I
didn't do it. I didn't do it. My wife did it.
Molly's booked you.
Molly's booked for her dad, me, and her brother.
I'm kind of like your dad. Why didn't you book me?
You could come in if you want.
No, fuck it. I like you.
I didn't even realise she did it on the day.
This is at the Hammer and Pincers.
Yes.
So, chaps.
Sure, you can find a table for 4 in the back.
No, don't worry.
Where can everyone find you if they want to order some delicious coffee?
St. Martin's Coffee, .shop is our store. Soon be migrating to a .co.uk version. But
lots and lots of our coffee partners also retail coffee.
Yes, they do.
There are some stores around. I mean, it's just
there'll be somewhere.
They're all over. Or indeed, they can just waltz into the roastery, Pembury Farm, Great Glen, Leicestershire. Okay. We have people popping in all the time, which is really nice actually, because we can often guide people as to what coffee would be right for them and the equipment they use, and it's really nice to have that kind of contact with people to so yeah. Thanks, boys.
Okay.
Yeah,
really enjoyed it.
Much.
Well, there we go. So if you want to listen to this podcast, you better subscribe. You got to remember to subscribe, please. It's important, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very important.
And
I lose sleep over it. I do.
You lose sleep over it.
Do you have a lot more listeners to subscribers? Is that how it usually goes?
We have way more listeners than subscribers. Yeah, it's bonkers.
It's gone from 6 to 10, the listeners now. So
Boom.
it's going up.
Yeah.
How much is it now?
Putting us down.
About 8,000.
Is it really?
Listens. Yeah, listens.
Wow.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Not per episode, just to be clear. That's not per episode.
That's all of our Instagram listeners. Instagram viewers.
So remember to subscribe. Why don't you tell a friend? Go and buy a nice bag of coffee, and we'll see you on Father's Day.
Boom.